Okay, donor number 5. Donor number 5 for $30 lifts us to $432.59. That's about half of our autumn expedition budget, so thank you very, very much, all of our donors. And donor number 5 unlocks this special mailbag segment with new information. New information that I had in my book, and I didn't know what I had. Well, Smorgasbord writes, I wonder why. Yeah, I made this AI avatar of you, Smorgasbord. I wonder why, of all the places in the world, the Imperial Army sent Mr. Sakai to the Middle East to study Semitic languages. Yeah, very good question. And they sent him there before his discovery of the Sunstone megalith. Yeah, that's awful convenient, isn't it? That doesn't seem random or coincidental to me. Just a thought. Someone earlier found that tomb, and they also recognized Semitic writing, script, alphabet, and wanted to know what it said? Huh? Did they set up Mr. Sakai? Smorgasbord. Sakai was born 1874, became a journalist, Christian pastor, and musicologist. Not immediately, you understand, he grew up first. Studied and worked as a journalist in the USA, as a matter of fact. 1904, back in Japan, Sakai is picked up to serve the Imperial Japanese Army in the Russo, the Russian and the Japanese War, as a civilian liaison for foreign military attachés. After the war, he goes back to his own thing in Tokyo. 1918, he serves again as a civilian interpreter in the Siberian military expedition, the oft-forgotten Siberian military expedition. Here he befriends white army officers who introduce him to the P's of the E's of Z. Sakai returns to Japan 1923 and writes several books influenced by those P's of the E's of Z. 1927, the Imperial Japanese Army dispatches Sakai to Palestine and Egypt, there to conduct Jewish research, which necessarily involves Semitic language research. 1934, we don't know what month, 6 or 7 years later, Sakai is invited down to Hiroshima Prefecture to check out Ashitake-yama. Specifically, he's invited down to Mount Ashitake, where he discovers the Sunstone megalith with, Sakai identifies it, Semitic writing inscribed on it. The following year, 35, he is decorated with Japan's highest civilian award. And the very next year, 1936, the government does a 180 and begins to persecute him to death. Now, Sakai was informed of the mountain and invited down to investigate it by Smorgasbord, a former or retired, I don't know which, but former or retired member, either way, former, I guess, member of the Diet. That would be the equivalent of a member of parliament or a congressman. Now, I know this man's name, Umeda Kenichi. I haven't been able yet to find out anything else about him, but he was a former member of the National Diet. Now, Japan, in these days we're talking about, is infamously compartmentalized into jealous, uber-jealous power blocks vying with each other for power. Japan would have done a lot better in World War II if her army and her navy weren't perpetually at war with each other. That's for sure. It may very well be that the Prime Minister's office, we know that the Prime Minister's office ultimately did see this topic as very important and sensitive. They destroyed the Sunstone and destroyed poor Mr. Sakai. It would be in keeping with them, I think, to use a retired political buddy to deal with Sakai. Keep it all under wraps that way. The Prime Minister's office certainly had the wherewithal to send Sakai to Palestine and Egypt with the army in 1927, send him to learn those Semitic languages. Why the gap between that assignment and bringing him down to Ashitakayama? Well, it could be many things. Change of Prime Minister, change of priorities, file getting lost. I don't know. I've worked on projects. I have unfinished projects right now that I've been working on for a lot longer than 7 years. Smorgasbord, I think you are onto something here. Sniffing out fishiness that after 90 years is almost homeopathically diluted. Just amazing. I salute you. You again show the power of the Team Hebegon hive mind. I'm going to note this theory in the book, giving you, of course, full credit. Friends with Monsters writes, the idea that ancient peoples did not travel and were somehow bound by continents completely separated from one another is a debunked fallacy. What the evidence shows is there was a vast system of trade and exchange of not only material goods, but ideas and knowledge as well. So true, Friends with Monsters. You know, where I'm from, up in northern Ontario, everybody knows that the Vikings were there. Vikings or proto-Vikings, whatever, Scandinavians. They find their runes carved in stones. They find petroglyphs, officially made by native Indians, but made in the same style as Bronze Age Scandinavian petroglyphs. And speaking of the Bronze Age, just where did all that copper come to make all that bronze? Well, a lot of it came from Lake Superior and Lake Huron. We all know. It's all right. We all know.
We all know.
Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh. It's okay.
Yep, we all know. Thank you, Friends with Monsters, and thanks for being my friend. Our third correspondent, a secretive pen pal, writes to me privately. He has a lot of advice and ideas and cautions that I have to think through. He's looking out for me. But he also has more examples of radial lines on mountains in Japan. More colossal solar calendars? Or is there something I have missed? I need to speak to that logging manager again, but he says he doesn't recognize these radial lines. Not to mention the weird stuff inside them. I don't know. But it is certain that one of the lines on Mount Heba points not just to the true tomb, the lost tomb, but straight dead to its center. Confirmed, also, this center of the tomb, confirmed, fingered by other megalithic lines that bisect it. and, of course, the textual definition, which exactly describes it. So I am certain that our solar calendar is part and parcel with the tomb, a feature of it. What is going on with these other radial lines our friend has found? I don't know. I'm afraid he's given me more homework than probably I have years left. Well, thank you all, friends. Thank you all, commenters and writers. Thank you all, donors. I will never, ever monetize this channel. First, because I am corruptible. Yes, I am. I've seen it too many times. A channel I respect changes its tune once there's ad revenue to be made or ad revenue to lose. Ad revenue at risk. Now, I'm as venal as the next guy, so I want that temptation out of my life. Second, because I detest the owners and managers of this site, and they don't like me, so it makes no sense to create income for me that they control, or income for them. But the main thing is my own weakness and corruptibility, so I will stay unmonetized and ask you for donations sometimes, twice a year typically. I know a man who is a millionaire video maker, many times over a millionaire, and he shames his audience to donate every show. He shames them every show. And you can bet his viewers are not millionaires. I think he is shameful, and I assure you, if you're broke like me, there's no shame in that. Just please keep supporting me with your kind words, your insights, your prayers. Kind words go very far with me because I get some nasty words too, believe it or not. And donors, thank you. Today I can give my wife cash to cover our hotel bills for my family and our volunteers. That is so kind of you and so productive. Thank you. And a reminder, there is no minimum donation amount and no maximum either, calling all eccentric billionaires. I love my rich friends. I love my broke friends, too. I love you all. Thank you. Over and out.